What's up everybody, it's Robin Gaming here. So I'm not sure how long this commentary is going to last because I've never really talked about music before and I'm not sure if I can do it well, but let's talk about the music in Uncharted 4. Now, me personally, I feel like soundtrack in video games is one of the most underrated things about gaming in general, because personally I would say the soundtrack in a game really sets up the tone, the mood, and is very important to actually make you feel very, for example, nostalgic at a later point in time about a video game you've played. If I think back of a certain game that I played years ago, then the first thing I will personally always think about is the music. That's what pops up in my head. That's what I like to listen to. That's what really makes me kind of like relive those memories. And so I totally think music in video games is very important. And talking about that, you know, Uncharted, the Uncharted series has had some amazing music in those games. It was all composed by a guy called Greg Edmondson, and I think he did an absolutely awesome job. Uncharted 1 maybe not really, it wasn't like that special, but especially with Uncharted 2 and 3 he really set himself apart from what he did with Uncharted 1, and I think from all these emotional to bombastic to just plain amazing songs, you know, that we've had so far that I would like to even personally listen to without playing the games. I would put up that music and listen to it without actually playing the game at that point, but just while doing other activities. So yeah, I've been a big fan of him ever since, but it was actually in late 2014 that it was confirmed to us that Greg Edmondson wouldn't be returning to do the soundtrack in Uncharted 4 in the final game in the series, and that made me very sad. It was at that point, of course, that we also learned that Amy Hennig had left the project, and I knew from watching interviews with the guy that he was always very inspired and he loved collaborating with Amy Hennig together on these games, and you know, he really looked up to her in that way. So I was very afraid that part of it had to do with the fact that she left as well, that he decided not to come back for this fourth and final game. So I actually sent him an email at that point where I pretty much, you know, thanked him for all the work he did, telling him that I thought he did an absolutely amazing job with the music and that I would always listen to it. And I also got a reply from him. Just want to quickly read it because this is what I got in late 2014 when that news broke. He said, "Thank you so much, Robin. I had a ball doing the Uncharted series. They just wanted to go a different way in Uncharted 4, and so it goes. Amy was and is a dear friend, and perhaps that was a part of it, but you know, I am filled with gratitude that I was part of such a fun franchise, and now it is on to the next thing. But what makes it all worthwhile is people like you, and I thank you very much. Stay in touch, Greg Edmondson." So yeah, I mean, me personally, I absolutely love the work that he did in the Uncharted series, and Neil Druckmann then in late 2014 confirmed to us that the new composer for the Uncharted 4 soundtrack would be Henry Jackman, a mostly film composer that hasn't done many video games yet before. And you know, to kind of like talk about some of the films that he did, Captain America Civil War I think is like about to come out, or it just did actually, but he did the soundtrack for that, for Wreck-It Ralph, for Man on the Ledge, so he has definitely had some experience with soundtracks in general. For video games, the very first one he did was late last year with Just Cause 3, and now Uncharted 4 will be his second video game composing soundtrack that he does. But I feel personally that what we've heard so far, right, it is definitely good. It is, I'm not sure if it's up to the level yet, I would say, of what Greg Edmondson did, but I definitely think there's some awesome tunes there that are already stuck in my head, just from the soundtrack we heard in the gameplay demos that we've seen so far, but also in the, for example, the multiplayer beta where we had music playing in the like final minutes of the game, right? Yeah, he is definitely looking to put some tunes in there that are very memorable, that stick in your head, that are awesome, but at the same time you also can really tell he uses different instruments. You know, you can tell while watching this video, listening to the music that's playing right now, it has a different style than what we used to have with the Uncharted games before, because of those different instruments that he uses, and just all in all, it's a kind of, yeah, it's a separate new tone, I would say, that's, I don't know really how to describe it, right? This is what I meant with, I'm not sure how I even can talk about music. I've never done it before. I find it a very hard thing, but it just seems to have this slightly different tone. I say slightly, but it's probably a pretty massive different tone compared to what we saw in the other games. But in general, I do think it's really good. I have high hopes from what he did with this game, and I hope that he can just manage to basically deliver us a soundtrack that is looking to be just as emotional and just as, yeah, amazing as the other Uncharted games had. So for now, that is kind of my thoughts on it. You know, I just can't really tell from now. I would say he's done a good job so far from what we heard, and the new, you know, Uncharted Nate's theme is looking to be amazing as well. But yeah, is the final game going to deliver? We'll just have to wait and see, right? So for now, I would like to know your thoughts in the comments. How important do you think soundtrack is in video games? What do you think of the previous Uncharted games' music? And what do you think of this new soundtrack from Henry Jackman that we've heard so far? And then for now, please leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. So thanks a lot for watching, and hope to see you again next time.